Hello everyone, this is Jasmina, and in this video I'm going to talk about Sha Chi mitigation, and these are the instructions for it in general. The monthly videos will just have the dates and times. So this type of mitigation is only important if you have both Sha Chi and untimely stars in a given sector of your house. If you have Sha Chi but positive stars, you don't need it. If you have untimely stars but no Sha Chi, you also do not need it. You have to have both. And for period 9, the stars 3, 5, and 7 are untimely for certain. Star 2 is timely in the flying star chart, and masters disagree on star 2 as an annual star, which would also include the monthly star and daily star, all that. But it is not agreed upon by all masters. And since the purple-white chart uses the annual star as its base, then I would say that the masters who say star 2 is an annual star is still an illness star, would also say that's what it is in the purple-white chart. But I don't happen to agree with those masters. I think star 2 is timely. But unfortunately, star 2 does not appear by itself, that is not with another annual affliction, until I believe 2029. So we have a while to wait before we know for certain who is right. Now the annual, the flying stars, and the purple white stars all need to be considered. And again, you only need to mitigate in important rooms. So the important rooms or the important locations are where your front door is, that is the sector where your front door is, the kitchen, your home office, and the bedrooms. And these are the bedrooms of the people who sleep there regularly. Unless you're using your guest room as a home office, the guest bedroom does not need to be mitigated because people aren't there all the time. Now, mitigations done during the best hour are more effective, they're stronger than the ones that are done during the same day but at a different hour. So this is why I list an hour, which is a little tricky to code, but it's doable because I've done it. So it's just a bit of a trick. Now, if you can't use the right time, it is still okay. You just use that correct date. The energy that is the mitigating energy is reduced, and the mitigation effect is weaker. So, but it's still better than not doing it. So by all means, do it. If the hour is inconvenient, just do it on that day at a convenient hour. Now, clashes are also important. So if you have a family member whose Batsa year animal clashes with the month that the mitigation is supposed to happen, it is ideal to either use multiple dates within that month or perform the mitigation whenever it's available next time it comes around. You probably want to actually do both so that you make sure everybody is protected. So performing a mitigation on a clash day or a clash hour doesn't harm anybody, but whoever is in that clash doesn't feel the mitigation. So if you are able to put in a mitigation and somebody in the family has a clash, everybody else will be protected except for that one person who had the clash. So they're going to feel whatever's there. But there's a way around this. That's not a disaster. You can use multiple days within a single month to cover everybody in the household. So that is totally fine. And I don't think you're ever going to come across the thing where you can't find at least one day that somebody can get protection from. Now, of course, if they clash with the month, then it will be a little weaker for them. But it's still better than not doing it. So only the clashes of the individual's year animal are important for all household members. So we're talking about the persons in your household, their year animal sign compared to the day. That's mostly what we're talking about. The month does make some effect, but that can slowly build if you do it on all the days possible. But if it's the day, that person doesn't get any effect from it. That is, they don't get any protection. Clashes with the working adult's month animal are also something to be concerned about, because this can affect the problem that the Sha Chi could create could affect their career unless you protect against it. So clashes with the day or hour animal generally are not important. Very, very rarely are they important. But if you can find a day where nobody's 4 animal signs clash, that's the best. But the bigger your family, the harder that's going to be. But again, you can use a couple different dates to make sure everybody is covered. Year clashes with a mitigation hour. Basically, you just use a different hour. If you most months it'll be on the same hour. Every day will be on the same hour, except for there are some exceptions to that, and especially at the solstice months, you're going to see a change from before solstice to after solstice. So that usually just means you need to do a different hour. And it's okay. It's not as strong, but it's still worth doing it. Now, if you are lucky and you have one of the following activated special formations, that is an activated combo 10, pearl string, parent string, 7-star robbery in your flying star chart, and you have a pearl or parent string in the purple white chart, then all of those stars are timely. Now, if you only have one of them, whichever chart that is, all the stars are timely, but it won't affect the other chart. So it's one or the other. And so it's not great. If you don't have this, it makes life a little more complicated. You've got to look at a lot more things. But if you're lucky to have both, then you really only have to worry about the annual stars, because those are the only ones that can really have a problem. And of course, at the end of that year, the problem will go away. So that's one thing nice if you only have to worry about the annual stars, because the problems can't last longer than a year. I have separate videos that will allow you to recognize each one of these formations, and also how to determine if the formation is activated. And these two will talk about the flying star chart, and these will tell you how to activate them. The flying star charts need activation. The purple white chart will be activated by time. So if you have it, you're good basically forever, unless you do something to change the period of your house. So otherwise, it's good. Now, in the flying star chart, the star 2 no longer needs to be mitigated. In period 8 it did, but not in period 9, and it won't need to be mitigated again until we reach period 3, which is quite away from now. Now, the star 2 and the purple white and the annual star still needs mitigation according to some masters. I don't happen to agree with them, but for now, because we aren't able to test it without also activating an annual affliction, we simply are going to have to wait until it is clear, and I think that happens in 2029. Now, there are some typical multiple dates given in a month for a given sector. When I show you the Sha Chi mitigation dates and times, there'll be usually for each of the stars that need mitigating, there will be a couple ways a couple ways to do it, or a couple dates to do it, and also a couple different sectors. But sometimes there's only one. There may even be some months when there's none, but that's pretty rare. So the dates for any given sector, like let's say you have Sha Chi in your north, and so you have to do something about that. And they typically will be several months apart, so that you'll get um, maybe 5, 6 on the outside dates that you can use, or months that actually have dates. So, but some of the sectors seem to be less frequent than others, and that's just the way the stars work. Now, you only need to do one mitigation if there are no clashes with the household members to have strong protection, if you can use the best hour to place the mitigation. So that is kind of key. If you can't use the best hour, and sometimes you just can't, then you just get slightly less strong protection, but you still get protection, and it's still worth doing. If there are clashes, use multiple dates to mitigate it so that the protection can be as strong as it can be for everybody in the household. So mitigation is rather simple. It involves placing an object of the appropriate element within the sector that has the Sha Chi on the right date, and hopefully on the right time also. So let me just tell you a little bit about what stars, if you don't have a special formation in your flying star chart, what you really need to worry about. So in general, if it's the base star that's untimely, it doesn't produce a lot of negative effects. It has a negative effect, but it's not usually terribly strong. But if you find yourself stagnating, not moving forward, it might be this problem. And so then you can start to mitigate it. An untimely facing star can cause problems with your career or your business or your investments. It's a pretty significant one. So definitely you want to look at your facing star. An untimely sitting star can cause problems in your health or your relationships. So this is equally important. So definitely you want to pay attention to those two. Now, if an untimely star occurs in a purple-white chart, basically it can lead to less happiness or less emotional stability if you spend a lot of time in that room, where you have the untimely star and the Sha Chi. So this is the outcome, because the purple-white chart has to do with your general emotional state of mind. An untimely annual star can lead to any type of problem in your business, your career, your investments, or your health or relationships. So this is the one that everybody is very, very aware of, and this is the one you want to make sure that you protect this one, because this is really important. Now, these effects get reset every year, especially, of course, the annual one, because the stars move around. The purple-white chart will do that too. The only one that stays in effect from year to year is the flying star chart. But still, in some sense, when a new year comes around, it sort of gets reset again, and maybe different kind of issues can crop up. So it basically just resets itself. That's the idea behind this. Now, the star 2, so now I'm going to talk about exactly what you do when you need to do a mitigation. So star 2, right now I would still treat this as an annual star. Again, you don't have to worry about it in your flying star chart, but you do have to worry about 5. And in the dates that I talk about in my monthly videos, I will have a short, I will just say this is for star 2 and 5 and give you some dates in a table. And this is how you do the mitigation. So Uh, what you're doing is you're just simply placing any type of metal object in that sector during that date and hopefully that hour to get your maximal mitigation. Now, star 5 is definitely a problem, absolutely, and it's not going to be not a problem until period 3 at the earliest. So it's going to be a problem for most people that are alive today that are listening to this. It'll probably still be a problem. Now, star 2, there's that question mark. Some masters say it's still terrible, others say it's timely. We'll have to wait and see. Now, the metal object that you're going to place has to have some visible metal. And anodized metal is okay because that is still largely made out of metal. That process basically puts a stable oxidized coating on a metal. So that is totally fine to use. And it should be in the open, not behind closed doors, so that the air in the room can regularly interact with it. And it also should be visible. I mean, that is, you should be able to see it at least at some points within the room. The type of metal and the weight of the object is not important, absolutely not important. So you could have a metal vase that weighs less than a pound because it's maybe made out of aluminum. But you can see that it's aluminum. That's good enough. I would not suggest that you put coins there because other people might pick them up. But a vase, maybe nobody would pay any attention to it. It could be a little sculpture. It could be you could even bring in a pot or a pan, but some people might pick that up and put it in the kitchen. So you have to be a little careful with that. You have to let everybody know, don't move this. Now, if you're using, what you're doing here is you're going to use a day that the month, the day, and the hour star in that sector all have metal energy. And when you combine that all, this is how just a little piece of metal works much stronger. So that is the key to using these specific dates. Now, using only one date is adequate if there's no clashes. Just want to remind everybody that. If you clash with the hour, or anybody in your household does, use a non-clash hour. And you'll still get a decent amount of protection, certainly worth doing. And then just the next month that rolls around where you do have that that sector have a month available to it, then definitely do it again. So this is for star 3. Now, star 3 is a wood star. Star 2 and 5 are earth stars. That's why we use metal to weaken it. So to weaken star 3, we're going to use fire because wood produces fire. And so you're going to need to perform a fire mitigation. Now, this one is considerably more complicated than just placing a piece of metal. So basically what you do is you light a candle, and while the candle is still lit, you turn on a salt lamp. And you then let the candle burn for at least 5 minutes. 5 minutes is kind of the minimum. 10 is maybe a little better. They do make tiny little 10-minute candles that you can use, but if it's a bigger candle, just blow it out. And then you leave the salt lamp on 24/7. And if it burns out, the light in there burns out, then you basically lost that continued energy. But you can, if you really want to be on the safe side, get 2 salt lamps, maybe have one battery powered and the other one with the house electricity. So if the electricity goes out, you still are protected. And they do make salt lamps that are battery powered. And it'll be in the same general room, in the same general sector, I should say, especially if you have a big room that spans sectors. Make sure you put it in the right one. And that will that will keep you protected even if the power goes out. Now, here, what we're doing is we're using fire energy. That is the day, the month, the hour, all those stars in that given sector are related to fire. And that's how just that little tiny candle for a short time is much bigger in energy than any other date. Now, again, only one date is required if there are no clashes. If you clash with the hour, use a non-clash hour. But whatever you do, do not leave a burning candle unattended, because that's an extremely good way to burn your house down. If you've lit the candle and it's been on for 30 seconds and your kids start screaming, blow the candle out, take care of whatever problem they have, come back. This hour is 2 hours on our clocks. So this is a Chinese hour. So you do have some time to do this. And then for star 7, 7 is metal. So what weakens metal? What does metal produce? It's water. So we're going to do a water mitigation. And again, you want to do it. If you can, you got to do it on the date, absolutely, and the hour makes it better. So what you do is you place an empty container. It can be almost anything, but you want to put that in the sector with the Sha Chi, all by itself, empty, just sitting there. You want to bring a pail of water or a pitcher or something and fill that water. You can fill you're going to take the water from your faucet. You want to bring the water to the container and fill it while the container's in place. Now this can be a fishbowl, or it could just be a bucket that you have, that you're ultimately going to have something to pump the water around to keep mosquitoes from breeding. But that's what we need to do. You need some sort of pump. It doesn't have to be very strong. And this is really just to keep mosquitoes from breeding. You only need to keep the water there for 2 weeks. You can keep it longer if you like. It's not a problem. But if it's a bedroom, really, you don't want to have it there any longer than 2 weeks, because it tends to lead to insomnia. So it's it just has too much energy. And especially if it's like a bucket that has a pump in it, and not like a fishbowl with live fish, that keeps the water moving enough. So that would really be hard in a bedroom. And you might only last a week, and that's okay. As long as it's there for at least 24 hours, you get some effect. Now, if the water happens to become cloudy or discolored, you basically want to bring an empty container, like an empty bucket, new water, into the room where you have this container with the water in. Dump the water into the empty pail. You can go and clean the, you can even take the container out and clean it. Just bring it back in and then refill it. If you can clean it in the room, it's probably a little better, but that could be hard. So it's still okay as long as it's in the room when you refill it. Now this again is only one date is necessary if there are no clashes. And if you clash with the hour, use a non-clash hour. So that's basically it. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. It's hopefully you can use this. And in my monthly videos, of course, I tell you exactly when and where you can do one of these mitigations that will really help protect you. Thank you again for watching.